ISIS may have radioactive material with which to make a dirty bomb. Republicans are already starting to cave on the next Supreme Court appointment, and a survey shows Americans know just about nothing about how their own government works. My name is Howard Riell, and this is Riell Truth. You're listening to the American Freedom Network, streaming live around the world at AmericanNewsNet.com, and on Facebook and YouTube and Tumblr, and in the book, Riell Truth, Stay Angry. And of course, as always, broadcasting out across the Colorado Front Range on KHNC, Johnstown, Colorado, 1360 AM The Lion. Our call-in number is 877-254-7524. Welcome back, my friends. Let's go. Item from Reuters. Iraq is searching for highly dangerous radioactive material stolen last year, according to an Environment Ministry document, and 7 security, environmental, and provincial officers who fear it could be used as a weapon if acquired by Islamic State. The material, stored in a protective case the size of a laptop computer, went missing in November from a storage facility near the southern city of Basra, belonging to U.S. oil-filled service company Weatherford. The document obtained by Reuters showed, and officials confirmed. Stop. Wait a minute. Radioactive material connected to a U.S. oilfield services company called Weatherford? What is that company doing with radioactive material? What is that company doing with radioactive material in Iraq? And what is that company doing not safeguarding it? Well, I don't have any answers to these questions, but I want answers, and you should also want answers, because it sounds to me like there are some people playing some very, very dangerous games. Item from Fox News. Apple will fight a federal magistrate's order to help the Obama administration break into an encrypted iPhone belonging to one of the shooters in last December's deadly San Bernardino terror attack. In a statement posted on Apple's website early Wednesday, that's today, CEO Tim Cook said the order by U.S. Magistrate Judge Sherry Pym, quote, has implications far beyond the legal case at hand, unquote. Wrong. I am first to man the parapets when it comes to preventing surveillance and upholding Americans' privacy, but this is an attack that has already taken place. So breaking through the encryption in the murderer's phone poses no constitutional problem that I can see. Now, if you said, and people do say, that they want to break into phones in order to prevent future crimes, then we got a problem. Because then you're not breaking into the phone of a criminal. But here you are. And so I call upon Apple to be good patriotic Americans and let's see what was on that phone, because it may save lives. Item from the Washington Times. President Obama called on Senate Republicans Tuesday to give his eventual Supreme Court nominee a fair hearing in his bid to replace the late Justice Antonin Scalia, as cracks emerged in the Republican leadership's position of automatically blocking any nominee. Stop! Let's talk about Donald Trump. The reason Trump is so wildly popular is because Americans don't trust government. Specifically, Republicans, conservatives don't trust, and we see that we cannot trust Republican leadership. For all the time that they've had a majority over Obama the last couple of years, they have caved and caved and caved and let him do as he will. They've never stood up against him. In fact, they funded all of his initiatives. The reason people want Trump is because they don't trust Washington, and here you see the Republicans are once again beginning to crack under, well, there is no pressure except public pressure. Grown-ups don't worry about public pressure. Grown-ups do what's right and what's good for the United States of America. Letting Barack Obama pick the next Supreme Court justice is bad, terrible for America. But you can count on these limp-wristed Republicans to always cave in. Now, here is Senate Judiciary Committee Chairman Chuck Grassley, Iowa Republican, who did not rule out confirmation hearings in a vote by his panel on an Obama selection. I would wait until the nominee is made before I would make any decision, Mr. Grassley said Tuesday in a conference call with Iowa radio reporters. In other words, take it a step at a time. Asked whether he thought the controversy over filling the court vacancy might endanger his re-election chances this fall, Grassley said, quote, I think I have a responsibility to perform, and I can't worry about the election. I've got to do my job as a senator, whatever it is. And there will be a lot of tough votes between now and the next election. His comments appeared to be a softening from a statement shortly after Justice Scalia's death, when Mr. Grassley said it was standard practice not to nominate or confirm candidates for the Supreme Court in an election year. It only makes sense that we defer to the American people who will elect a new president to select the next Supreme Court justice, Grassley said in a statement on Saturday. Senator Tom Tillis, North Carolina Republican, voiced caution about blocking any Obama nominee automatically. Stop, Mr. Tillis, you are a jackass! I'll do better than that. You're a traitor to the Republican Party, to conservative Americans, and to America in general. Anyone who wants to truly help this country should be dead set, rock solid against Obama appointing another Supreme Court justice. And if you're not, then get the hell out, because we haven't got time for people like Senator Tom Tillis. He said the following, I think we fall into the trap if we just simply say, sight unseen, we fall into the trap of being obstructionists, unquote. Well, Mr. Tillis, you're not being obstructionist. What you're afraid of is liberals calling you an obstructionist because you're a child and you don't want to be called names, Mr. Tillis. I will call you names all day long if you sell out America. There's no way that Barack Obama should be allowed to name another Supreme Court justice. Look, I understand that each branch of government has its job to do, but you know, it's illegal to yell fire in a crowded movie theater. But it's not illegal if there is a fire. So Congress has to do what it's got to do, but in the face of the destruction of our country, suddenly there is a fire. And we depend on our legislators to put out the fires. And if Mr. Tillis won't do it, let him resign, let him go work in a mall someplace. There's just no more wiggle room when it comes to America's future. This is Riell Truth, my friends. Not mistakable with any other radio show. I'll be right back.
We all know that our government is out of control. What are the point the people in it? How can we, the people, bring it back to the people's servants, not the people's masters? Liberty Forum and the Freedom Rider says officials in government must be made accountable for their actions. AccountabilityRevolution.com is the place to go to learn how you can actually make that happen. Become their judges, not their slaves. AccountabilityRevolution.com. Fort Collins Radiator Shop reminds us child abuse is one of America's saddest crimes. Child abuse is not just some other family's problem. If you or anyone you know needs help, call your local authority. This message from friends at Fort Collins Radiator Shop, 417 Jefferson Street in Fort Collins, serving the community for over 47 years. For all your radiator repairs, call 970-482-6783. On the air for our children.
And of his fullness we have all received, and grace for grace. For the law was given through Moses, but grace and truth came through Yeshua HaMashiach, Jesus the Christ. No one has seen God at any time. The only begotten Son, who is in the bosom of the Father, he has declared him. The Gospel of John, chapter 1, verse 16. The United States, in order to form a more perfect union, establish justice, ensure domestic tranquility, provide for the common defense, promote the general welfare, and secure the blessings of liberty to ourselves and our posterity, do ordain and establish this Constitution for the United States of America.
evening, my friends. Welcome back to Riell Truth. I am Howard Riell. Talk about current. I have got a video now. Donald Trump at a town hall in Bluffton, South Carolina that happened just a couple of hours ago. Fresher than this, you will not get on the radio. Here we go. Listen to what he says.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the next President of the United States, Donald J. Trump. Walk on in, Mr. Trump, we'll get right into it. You've been on the trail for 8 months. You've never been elected to a public office before. Tell me about the experience for running for president and your view on the election process.
Well, it's been an amazing experience. I've had a lot of fun. You probably saw the new polls that came out today. They've been fantastic. And one just came out in Nevada where I'm at a number that's beyond belief, actually. Maybe I don't even have to go there and campaign. I don't know. But it's been an amazing experience. Winning New Hampshire was great. We did really well in Iowa. Should have won, but frankly, to be honest with you, somebody stole a lot of Ben Carson's votes and got himself a little extra cushion. We should have won that. But there's a lot of dishonesty in politics, I will tell you. Tremendous dishonesty. These people are, some of them that we're running against, in particular Senator Cruz, he'll say anything. He'll say, for instance, I'm very strong on the Second Amendment. He'll say, Donald Trump doesn't like the Second Amendment, wants to do away with it. I say, where does he come up with this stuff? And every speech I make, I talk about Second Amendment, I talk about different things. Obamacare, you know, I'm going to get rid of Obamacare. We're going to come up with a great plan. But Cruz will say, it's the most incredible thing, Bill. Cruz will say, Donald Trump loves Obamacare. I love Obamacare. Every single speech since it came out, I said, we're going to get rid of it. So they really, they lie. And the reason I can say that nicely is that Rubio called him a liar also. So once another guy called him a liar, it's easier for me to call him a liar. But really, Cruz does lie. I've never seen anything quite like it.
Okay, this is from our Sun City Veterans Club. You said you will rebuild the military. That sounds a lot like Ronald Reagan's belief in a strong military is a strong offense, is a strong defense as well. 2 questions. How will you rebuild the military, and what will you do about ISIS?
Okay. Well, number one, we're going to knock the hell out of ISIS. We're going to get rid of ISIS. We have to. And just so you understand, I didn't want, and it was very important to me, I didn't want to go into Iraq. And as long time ago, 2003, 2004, but even before that, I was totally against the war because you're going to destabilize the Middle East, and I went into it very big league. You're going to destabilize the Middle East, but they went in. Then Obama got us out the wrong way, but we have to get rid of ISIS. Maybe don't go into Iraq originally. We should have never, ever gone in, but we did, so we made a mistake. The country made a big mistake and started all of this horrible thing that you see taking place, including ISIS. But now you have ISIS, and they're chopping off people's heads, they're chopping off Christians' heads, they're chopping off anybody's head, and we got to knock them out. We're going to knock them out so strong. We're not going to play games. We're going to make our military strong and powerful again. And believe me, it's the cheapest thing we can do because nobody's going to mess around with us. We have no choice. It's the cheapest thing we can do. Our military has been decimated. It's been absolutely decimated, and it's not in good shape, believe me. In fact, General Ordiano, when he left, he said it's, in terms of preparedness, it's the least prepared it's been in a long time. We are going to make our military absolutely strong and powerful again. And we don't want to use it, but we have to have it. It's actually like a preventative. It's the cheapest thing we can do. So that's totally important. And we've got to take care of our vets. We're going to take care of our vets. Our vets are being treated terribly. We're going to take care of our vets.
Thank you, Mr. Trump. Mr. Trump, I'm a developer, and I know it can be done. But will you explain your plans to build a wall on the Mexican border and stop illegal immigration? It's a big question from a lot of these folks here.
We're going to build a wall, folks. And none of these politicians are going to build a wall because they don't know where to begin. They come to me, they say, you're not really going to build a wall, are you? Yes, of course I'm going to build a wall. The reason is, and it's simple. First of all, I know how to build. What I know how to do best is to build. Wouldn't it be nice to have a president that knew how to build because we have to rebuild our country? And knew how to negotiate. I'm building a hotel that actually I got from the government. Can you imagine the Obama administration? I got it from the old post office on Pennsylvania Avenue between the White House and the Capitol building, and right smack in the best location, right on Pennsylvania Avenue, and it's under budget by a lot, and it's 2 years ahead of schedule. And somebody in government said, we've never heard of that before. It's under budget, ahead of schedule. It's 2 years ahead of schedule. So we're going to open it in September, and it was supposed to open in a couple of years in September. But that's nice, because we know how to do that. Having somebody that has that ability, I've always had the ability, under budget, ahead of schedule, having that ability when we have to rebuild our infrastructure, because our country is crumbling, our airports, our roadways, our highways, our bridges, our tunnels, hospitals, I mean, everything we have, it comes in, when you look at the way they build, it comes in double, triple, quadruple. Let me tell you, people are making a lot of money off our country. They're not going to make so much money anymore. And here's the other thing. I'm self-funding my campaign. So I'm not controlled by the special interests, the pharmaceutical companies, and all of the different interests, whether it's the electrical companies, the utilities. They have hundreds of them. They control the politicians because they contribute. I don't take the money. So I'm self-funding. I don't know if I get any credit for that, to be honest with you. I'm not sure, but I'm self-funding. Costing a lot of money. Costs a lot of money. But, you know, the nice thing is they can't come to me and say, well, we gave you money, you know, Ford or General Motors or somebody. We gave you a lot of money. We need this, we need that. I'm going to do what's right for you folks, okay?
And just full disclosure, my wife sent you a check for $25. Okay. Look, one of the questions that I think everybody in here wants to know is, why is the media in general afraid of a Trump presidency?
Oh, I get treated so badly. I mean, I was watching Fox this morning. They treat me so badly. Fox treats me like worse than anybody. But I get treated very badly by the media. I don't even know, I don't really understand why. They have pundits on that are just one after another, negative, negative, negative. It started where actually nobody, you know, they all thought I wasn't going to run. And they said, he'll never run, you run. And then they look bad, and then they don't stop. And some have become much better, but I think Fox in particular treats me so badly, it's incredible. But it doesn't matter, I guess. Look, we're leading in the polls by a lot. We won New Hampshire in a landslide. It was a landslide victory. We won every single group. We won highly educated, not educated. We won women, we won men, we won young, we won old. We won virtually every group, I think, every group. And it was an amazing victory and something really special. But, you know, I'm finding out, all I can do is tell the truth. You know, I tell the truth about Iraq. I say the war was a disaster. We spent $2 trillion, lost thousands of lives. We have wounded warriors all over the place. I love the wound. I mean, these guys have more courage than all of us put together, I have to tell you, all of us. And you know, I say we should have never been there. And, you know, if Bush is insulted, I don't care if he's insulted. What difference? It was a horrible mistake. We should have never been there. Somebody says, oh, that's not good to criticize. I said, criticize? It's one of the worst decisions in the history of our country to go in. We've totally destabilized the Middle East, which I predicted. I should get credit for vision, because I predicted that was going to happen. Because when you knocked out the one power, the other power just took it over. Now Iran is taking over Iraq, just as sure as you're sitting there. We don't even have anything to do with Iraq anymore. We're gone. But think of it. We spent $2 trillion. Could have rebuilt our country. We could have done so much with that money. And instead, we're worse in the Middle East than we were 15 years ago. I mean, right now, it's a disaster. Saddam Hussein was a bad guy, right? Bad guy. But you know what he was good at? Killing terrorists. There were no terrorists. He was killing terrorists. Now, Iraq is Harvard for terrorists. If you want to be a terrorist, you go to Iraq. It's Harvard. And what did we do? You know, we spent all this money, lost all these lives, have all these wounded warriors. What do we get? And Iran is taking on, not only do they get the $150 billion in this stupid deal that we made, one of the dumbest deals I've ever seen, ever, but now they're taking over Iraq that we handed them. They've been fighting for years to try and take each other over. Well, we decapitate the one country, they're now taking over, and people don't realize Iraq has the second largest oil reserves in the world. So we took it and we just handed it to them on a silver platter. How could we have been so stupid? Very good.
By the way, my friends, let me jump in here and pat myself on the back. I was saying years ago that we should have helped ourselves to Iraq's oil. Think about it. We went into Iraq and we basically conquered the country. And if Iraq, and I've said this on the show, I said it years ago, if Iraq was the second highest producer of oil in the country, then America should automatically have become the second highest producer in the country, because once we conquer a country, what they have is ours. You get politicians involved, politicians who take money under the table, politicians who are in bed with special interests. Next thing you know, as Donald Trump said, Iraq is now Harvard for terrorists. They're making the money on the oil, not us. They're spending it on terrorists, so we've got to spend money to fight the terrorists. It is a concatenation of stupidity. And Trump is the only one talking realistically about fixing it. Let's go back. We've got another couple of minutes.
Very sad. I mean, honestly, to me, it's a sad subject to talk about.
All right, on the way in the back, I saw a gentleman with a Bernie T-shirt on. And I said, "What are you doing here at a Trump rally?" And he said, "Well, the tickets were free." So what is your answer to Hillary and Bernie when they're grabbing so many of the young people with freebies? What's
Who
your
is the Bernie guy? Who is he?
I think the rest of these folks ran him out.
Oh, I guess he got thrown out, I guess. I don't know. I don't see him now. Now, look, this is something, and the main thing is you have to go and vote and all that, but if you don't vote for me, don't go and vote. I'd like to, it's a nice thing to say, you have to go vote. You ever hear these politicians? Doesn't matter who you're voting for, but you must go out and vote. I don't feel that way, but just go and vote if you're going to vote for me. But it is so important. On Saturday, you have to, and it is true. We had such an unbelievable turnout. This was so great. And did I promise you I'd come back and take care of the people? Other people forget that. And we had so many people that wanted to come. We said, you can't come. This was for the group of people where they got stuck outside. And there were a lot more than this, but they invited exactly 500 people. And I just felt I had an obligation to do it. I was thinking about canceling this morning because I had something else, and I said, there's no way I have the courage to do that, right? Would I have been in trouble? And, I know the tremendous support I have here, and I really appreciate it. And, Del Webb, I knew Del Webb many years ago, and he was an amazing guy. He did a great job. Are you all happy with Del Webb? I think so, right? Del Webb was a great developer, actually, and one of the few really great developers, so congratulations.
Mr. Trump, there's not a person in this room that doesn't fear for the future of their children and their grandchildren. How are we going to make America great for the grandchildren?
Well, look, we have to have strong borders. We have to strengthen our economy. We have to get rid of our debt. We have to balance our budget. All of the things that I talk about all the time. We have to have that strong military because we can't have any chances. We're being looked at by so many different people, and weaponry today is unbelievably powerful. So we have to be extremely careful. We have to be really, really diligent. I've called for bans on people coming into the country because we don't know what the hell's going on. I mean, there's bad stuff happening. There is bad stuff happening up here. When you have people flying planes into the World Trade Center, when you have people shooting people that gave them parties.
All right, my friends, there you have it. He talks common sense. That's why I talk so much about Donald Trump. Let's move on. We're almost at a break already. Wow, incredible. There we go. Item from TomatoBubble.com. In examining the post-Scalia death mania, which continues to dominate the front pages of Sulzberger Slimes, we can't help but notice the conspicuous absence of two elements that should be part of the wall-to-wall coverage. Number one, there's not a trace, neither in the featured stories nor the editorial pages, of the sympathetic coverage that the Slimes always affords to the memory of recently deceased libtards, Marxist and other assorted degenerates of every stripe. Two, more importantly, there has not appeared a single sentence in the Slimes, meaning the Times, about either the strange circumstances and inconsistencies regarding the official story, nor the explosive comments made by William O. Ritchie, former head of criminal investigations in Washington, D.C. Ritchie wrote this on his Facebook page, quote, "My gut tells me there's something fishy going on in Texas. As a former homicide commander, I'm stunned no autopsy was ordered for Justice Scalia. You have a Supreme Court justice who died not in attendance of a physician. You have a non-homicide trained U.S. Marshal tell the Justice of Peace no foul play was observed. You have a Justice of the Peace pronounce the death while not being on the scene and without any medical training opining that the Justice died of a heart attack. What medical proof exists of a myocardial infarction? Why not a cerebral hemorrhage? How can the Marshal say without a thorough post-mortem that he was not injected with an illegal substance that would simulate a heart attack?" Take a break.
HappyHens.biz can even deliver, or you can pick up. Call me, Tim, at 303-829-5948, or go to HappyHens.biz for pricing and ingredients. At HappyHens.
I forgot to press the button, and so I wasn't really talking into the radio, and I talked over the commercial. I apologize.
Rehabilitation and Nursing Center of the Rockies reminds everyone the chance of involvement in an auto accident rises dramatically with the consumption of alcohol or use of drugs. Please think before you drive. Don't let drugs or alcohol ruin your life or take the lives of others. You are responsible for your own safety as well as the safety of those around you. This message from Rehabilitation and Nursing Center of the Rockies. For information on their services, call 970-484-7981.
Great Plains Power has been providing reliable electrical power systems in the Rocky Mountain area since 1992. Our systems rely on the sun to help make you self-reliant for your power needs. Solar energy can be scaled to fit any situation, from complete power independence to backup power for the short term. Our expertise focuses on standalone power, but we have extensive experience with utility interactive systems as well. Custom-tailored capabilities as modest as emergency lighting all the way to commercial-scale power. Great Plains Power is a full-service company. We service everything we sell. We provide and design turnkey packages, custom design system, and parts for do-it-yourself. With more than 20 years of specialized experience at your disposal, let us know what your power concerns or goals are. Reach us by phone or the internet. Call 303-239-9963. That's 303-239-9963. Or go to GreatPlainsSolar.com. He was in the world, and the world was made through him, and the world did not know him. He came to his own, and his own did not receive him. But as many as received him, to them he gave the right to become children of God, to those who believe in his name, who were born not of blood, nor of the will of the flesh, nor of the will of man, but of God. The Gospel of John, chapter 1, verse 10 through 13. Article 4. The right of the people to be secure in their persons, houses, papers, and effects against unreasonable searches and seizures shall not be violated, and no warrant shall be issued but upon probable cause, supported by oath or affirmation, and particularly describing the places to be searched and the persons or things to be seized.
Folks, welcome back to Riell Truth. Little in the way of introduction. Paul Joseph Watson talking about the future of free speech on the internet. Let's listen.
Twitter has announced the creation of a new Trust and Safety Council that critics assert will police free speech and censor conservative voices. And who did they pick to oversee this new advisory board?
Everything is sexist, everything is racist, everything is homophobic.
That's right, it's Anita Sarkeesian, the feminist who thinks that telling social justice warriors they're liars is a form of harassment.
Harassment is threats of violence, but it's also the day-to-day grind of you're a liar, you suck.
Let me emphasize that point. Twitter is now being advised on its free speech policy by somebody who thinks that criticism of feminism is a form of hate speech.
But Twitter's a private company. It can censor whoever it likes.
Right. And how's that working out for them? Since it tightened the screws on free speech and started suspending and banning conservatives, the company's stock has plunged and top executives are fleeing like rats from a sinking ship. Now Twitter's user count is set to decline for the first time ever. Hey Twitter, turning your entire platform into one giant safe space for perpetually triggered SJW cult members is not a good business move. Just ask Mattel, who caved to professionally offended morons by creating a fat feminist Barbie, a decision that resulted in a marketing nightmare. On the other hand, Protein World, who gave the middle finger to funless fat pride feminists, went on to make millions in profit. Look at what happened to Reddit and 4chan when they cracked down on free speech. Didn't go so that its new Ministry of Truth contains a diversity of voices, and that claim is total bullshit. Not a single one of the organisation.
My friends, I have a little problem with static on the line. I don't think the video is going to play. Anyway, the problem is this. Barack Obama has done everything he can to crack down on freedom on the internet. It's something that we cannot permit because the internet is what keeps the major media honest. It's what keeps the politicians honest. And on top of which, it's free speech. And this is America. So stay on top of the news. Look for every little bit of attempt by the government. It's there almost every day to crack down on free speech. Hopefully you get the internet better than I do because, like I said, I got static breaking up my internet. But free speech is inviolable. And don't let them take it away. Item from WorldNet Daily. Donald Trump, who's still leading in polls on the Republican Party pick for president, sent out a series of tweets in recent hours aimed at shutting down detractors, negative discourse, and perceived unfair attacks, and targeting the likes of President Obama, Fox News pundits, and Megyn Kelly. In a scathing message, Trump dealt with a widely reported claim made by Obama, who said on national TV that he, meaning Trump, will not be president because the American people would realize the White House position was, quote, not hosting a talk show or a reality show, and would elect a more serious candidate. On that, Trump wrote, quote, interesting how President Obama so haltingly said I would never be president. This from perhaps the worst president in U.S. history, unquote. People ask me how I compare Barack Obama to Jimmy Carter. Well, that's easy. Jimmy Carter was an inept schmuck. Barack Obama is an active enemy of the United States. He's not doing things that are destructive for our country because he's a bumbling fool. He's doing things that are destructive to the United States because he hates the United States and Americans and Christians and Jews. He's doing it intentionally. Item from the Connecticut Post. Donald Trump has scored his highest numbers in a Quinnipiac University poll released Wednesday, that's today. Found him with a 2-to-1 lead among Republican voters nationwide with 39%. He's followed by Senator Marco Rubio of Florida with 19%, Senator Ted Cruz of Texas with 18%. Ohio Governor John Kasich has 6%. Unquote. My friends, I'll tell you this myself. Former Florida Governor Jeb Bush and Ben Carson each have 4%. That's laughable because Jeb Bush has spent scores of millions of dollars, almost $100 million, and all he's gotten is 4%. And the reason why is because everyone knows he's such a weenie and a nothing and a zero. And he can bring his mommy to help him and he can bring his brother to help him. But that won't cover up the fact that he is obviously a nerd and a nebbish, and nobody, except the special interests, wants Jeb Bush. Item from Natural News. With election season heating up in earnest, the political debates breaking out nationwide, we would do well to remember an often overlooked but troubling survey published by the Annenberg Public Policy Center of the University of Pennsylvania back in September of 2014. That study found the U.S. residents show an astonishing lack of understanding of the basics of how their government functions. Indeed, more than 1 in 3 respondents was unable to name even a single branch of the U.S. government. Stop, my friends, I got to repeat that because I'm still trying to believe it. More than 1 in 3 respondents unable to name even one branch of the U.S. government. In other words, they never heard of the president. They never heard of Congress. They never heard of the Supreme Court. More than 1 out of 3. The survey found only 36% of respondents were able to accurately identify all 3 branches of the U.S. government. As much as 35% could not name any, while 13% could name only one and 16% could name only 2. Asked how much of a majority was required for Congress to override the presidential veto, 47% answered they didn't know. Another 26% answered incorrectly. Only 27% knew the correct answer, a 2/3 majority. When asked what a 5-4 Supreme Court decision meant, 25% said they didn't know. More than 1 in 5 incorrectly said a 5-4 decision would be sent back to Congress for reconsideration. Just under half, 47%, knew that any majority decision by the Supreme Court becomes law. Overall, respondents did better when asked which branch of government has the final responsibility for deciding whether laws are constitutional. A full 62% correctly answered that it was the Supreme Court. 17% incorrectly said Congress. 12% said the President. A further 8% were unsure. Well, my friends, I'm sure of something. I'm sure that Americans are to blame. We, the people, are to blame for the losers and the scam artists that we send to Washington, D.C. And by the way, the same ones who are in our state houses also and running our city governments. We are the culprits. How dare we? In a country where good men and women for more than 2 centuries have given their lives to create what was the freest country in the world, the country with the most opportunity, they paid the supreme price. We've got wounded warriors walking around the United States today. Some can barely walk, some not at all, and we aren't interested. We don't care. We've got better things to do. What's Kim Kardashian doing? Who won the sports game yesterday? What's on TV? And we don't even know what the 3 branches of our government are. My friends, it's shocking. It's disgraceful. It's obscene. And I've been yelling on this radio show for 7.5 years trying to correct this situation. I don't see them making a dent. My friends, get involved in the government because it's the government that decides how you and one day your children will live. Let's take a break. I'll be back. All right, guys, all done. Please share this video. I'll be back tomorrow. Take care.